Now we are doing the revision of essay 501 onwards. So this is the second part of our chapter number 4 का revision. तो इसको करते हैं अच्छे से एक करके. Now in this the first thing that you will target is in relation to your SA 501. SA 501 as you know deals with three matters, that is inventory, litigation and claims and segment information. Okay? So it deals with three parts. Now first we will do the matter in relation to inventory. So inventory ka again refer the diagram which is there in your notes and I'll just show you the point which are there on the screen. You will see all the points there. पहला आएगा यहाँ पे कि sir matters which are relevant in planning the attendance at the physical inventory counting. इसमें अपने एक बहुत simple diagram किया था. I think you will be able to recollect it very fast. बोलो आराम से. पहले आएगा वो RAT, याद है वो RAT, that is risk of material misstatement. Then उसके ऊपर आएगा यहाँ पे internal control. Then on the side you will have auditors expert. बाद में आएगा आपका physical inventory system. उसके बाद आपका नेक्स्ट आएगा यहाँ पे, अच्छा, for the first point that was there was nature of the inventory. So I'll tell you from the beginning. Nature of the inventory, then risk of material misstatement, then आएगा आपका यहाँ पे internal control. Then after that you have auditors expert, then you have physical your perpetual inventory system, then you have various locations where we keep the inventory. उसमें आएगा work in progress, then you will have the physical where you the procedure for inventory counting, and last point will be timing of inventory. तो ये आपके points आएंगे यहाँ पे, and similarly diagram का flow है, and remember the diagram का flow, you will be able to recollect the points in a much more easier way. ठीक है, बढ़ते आगे यहाँ पे. Next, after that we did an answer in the class that is called as, sir, what are the audit procedures that the auditor will do at the time of physical inventory counting. Remember I told you that आपका जो classroom है, imagine that as a go down, and बाहर कोई बाहर से वो ऑडिटर आ रहे हैं यहाँ पे चेक करने के लिए. सो ऑडिटर बाहर वो मैनेजमेंट का इंस्ट्रक्शंस पढ़ेगा यहाँ पे. सो व्हाट इंस्ट्रक्शंस द मैनेजमेंट हैज गिवन टू इट्स ओन एम्प्लॉइज, द ऑडिटर विल फर्स्ट चेक दैट. आफ्टर दैट व्हेन द ऑडिटर एंटर्स, ऑडिटर विल ऑब्जर्व विद हिज ओन आइज कि यहाँ पे जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, ये जो एम्प्लॉइज है वो मैनेजमेंट का इंस्ट्रक्शन फॉलो कर रहे हैं या नहीं कर रहे. सो दैट द सेकंड पॉइंट विल बी ऑब्जर्व द परफॉर्मेंस. After that, next point will be the auditor will request one of the employees to bring the box, and auditor will see कि उस box में उतने quantity of goods है या नहीं है. That is called perform the test counts. Auditor will look at the inventory in the box and see whether the quality of the inventory is maintained or not. That is called inspect the inventory. And the last point will be the auditor will see whether the amount that the auditor is estimating inventory का जो value auditor सोच रहा जितना है, whether that is matching with the final inventory records or not. This is what the auditor will check. Okay, that is in relation to the audit procedures in relation to inventory counting. Okay, let's go to the third one, and the third one was again a very simple area, that was situations. Sir, agar in this case if the auditor is not able to check the inventory on 31st of March, then can the auditor check the inventory on some other date? The answer is yes, obviously I should do that only, and that date is called as an alternative date. If the auditor selects an alternative date, in that case the auditor will have to do something called as intervening period transactions. Auditor will have to do that. Iski baad the next point will be, sir, if the auditor is not able to check the inventory in the go down at all, impractical, it is impractical to check the inventory, in that case the auditor will have to do alternative audit procedures, and if he is not able to do that also, then the auditor will but obviously report as per your favorite standard, that is SA 705. So auditor will report as per 705 in that case. Comfortable here? Okay, that is in relation to the inventory part. Then inventory में एक अच्छा point था यहाँ पे called as inventory with third party. And third party में I had given that Chennai वाला example. Remember our goods are kept in Chennai. हम लोग को export करना है यहाँ पे to Singapore. ऐसा अपने example लिया था यहाँ पे. So उसमें मैंने बताया था यहाँ पे कि sir what all things should the auditor check. So the auditor will take confirmation from the third party. Auditor will inspect and do other audit procedures also. So other audit procedures के अंदर क्या क्या points आएंगे यहाँ पे. So इसमें I think in the class we had done a small ऐसे 4 points का एक flow था. First, the auditor will sir inspect the documentation. Auditor documentation को go through करेगा. So auditor will request the confirmation from from other parties when inventory is pledged as collateral. नहीं, collateral का point क्यों दिया हुआ है? Suppose बैंक ने हमने को लोन दिया and we have given the bank as inventory as security. In that case, we have to take confirmation from the bank कि inventory आपके पास है या नहीं है, because we have given the inventory as a collateral या security. Next, we'll attending or arranging for another auditor to attend. चेन्नई में किसी auditor को अपन ने arrange कर दिया, and that person is going and checking the inventory. Even that is okay. Last में आएगा यहाँ पे obtaining another auditor's report or a service auditor's report. So the warehouse organization which is working in Chennai, they are also running a business, so they may also have an auditor. So that auditor's report we can refer and see whether the controls are there in place or not regarding this third parties go down. Okay, that is basically this point. Do this very well. This is an inclusion in the portion. Inventory with third party was always there as an answer in your syllabus, but this point number B के अंदर जो 4 bullet points है, that is a new inclusion. So ensure that you are doing that properly. Okay, because ICI is now focusing on this examples part, so ensure that you are doing it properly. But again, now we are doing something called a litigation and claims. आ जाओ इस पे. Now litigation and claims, the first thing that we do is see there are 2 answers to it. just a second. I'll just reshare the matter once again. एक minute. Okay. Now let's look at litigation and claims. अच्छा. Now litigation and claims में you will see here that sir auditor को यहाँ पे there are going to be two answers that can come in the exam regarding this. Ki sir, how will we identify litigation and claims and how will we react when the risk of material misstatement is high? Risk of material misstatement high का we have done a big diagram in the class if you remember, and that diagram I'll take you to that later. वो second part of the answer है. पहले ये first part पे आ जाओ. How will the auditor identify litigation and claims? पहले auditor मुंह से क्या करेगा यहाँ पे? He'll inquire with the management and the in-house legal counsel. Auditor will see the communication between the external legal counsel and the management. That is checking the email. That is called correspondence with the external legal counsel. Auditor will check the minutes of meeting of the TCWG. What had they discussed in the meeting? Auditor will also check the legal expense account and see कि legal expense account में is there a sudden increase. If there is a sudden increase, it means that it is possible that the company is paying some lawyer, and because there is some court case going on. Okay. Next point is this diagram which we have done in the class, and I hope you are able to go through this with me. Important diagram है, अच्छे से करा मेरे साथ बोलो यहाँ पे. If the risk of material statement is high regarding litigation and claims or any other litigation or claims may exist, if this doubt is there in the auditor's mind, the auditor will communicate it with or auditor will meet the external legal counsel. If the auditor is not given the permission to communicate with the external legal counsel, the auditor will do alternative audit procedures. If the auditor is able to communicate with the external legal counsel, auditor will obtain this information by giving us something called a letter of inquiry, so that the external legal counsel can directly communicate with the auditor. But in the class I told you, sometimes the management will not allow you to have a direct communication with the external legal counsel. Management will insist, nahi, we will only allow you to ask specific questions only. And if that is the case, then that is called as communicate with the letter of specific inquiry. If the management gives us permission to inquire with the external legal counsel with a letter of specific inquiry, in that case, we will have to neatly in the email list the litigation and claims that are there, list the management's assessment regarding each of those cases, list the external legal counsel का reasonableness regarding that matter, what they think कि management का जो assessment है वो सही है या नहीं है. That is what the auditor will request from the external legal counsel. And last में auditor will also tell the external legal counsel, please mention if the list that we are giving to you is whether it is incorrect or incomplete, please let us know. इस तरीके से मैटर आगे पड़ेगा. सिंपल. आगे बढ़ते हैं इसमें यहाँ पे. The next point is in relation to sir, अगर यहाँ पे there is a requirement to meet the external legal counsel, then for which matters do we have to meet the external legal counsel? For that we have to remember DISCO करके कोड किया था मैंने. Where there is a disagreement between the management and the external legal counsel, where the matter is of significant risk, or where the matter is very, very complex. In that case, we will prefer meeting the external legal counsel. Sir, if the permission is not given by the management at all to even communicate to the external legal counsel, or even if you have communicated, the external legal counsel doesn't respond, or sir, the external legal counsel is prohibited from responding. I told you in the class that the people who are lawyers or who are advocates, they come under the category of they come under the Bar Council of India. How we come under ICI, they come under Bar Council of India. How ICI have their code of ethics, they can also have their code of ethics of not communicating with outsiders. In that case, the external legal counsel is prohibited from responding to us also. That is the auditor also. अगर ऐसे हुआ यहाँ पे, then the auditor will be forced to do alternative audit procedures. और of course, अगर वो भी नहीं कर पा रहे अपन यहाँ पे, then of course your dear friend standard is there. You will report as per what? SA 705. Simple है भैया. That we did in relation to litigation and claims. Then after that we went to the next area, that is your segment information. Now segment information had two answers, very very simple answers. First is audit procedures to obtain audit evidence. So the first part is audit procedures to obtain audit evidence. Okay. So in this, I think a diagram is drawn from your end. Just check the diagram. So the auditor will understand the methods used by the management. Auditor will see whether any disclosure is done as per the AFRF or not. Auditor will test the methods used by the management. Auditor will perform analytical procedures, because analytical procedures the best work करेगा इसमें, because the data is already segregated into various segments. So auditor यहाँ पे he can easily perform the analytical. Now let's continue. Okay, let's see this. Now, in order to understand the methods used by the management, what all should the auditor do? Auditor will do something called that TACO. You have to take a code called TACO. याद है? The transfer, sales and charges between the various segment how it is ascertained by the organization. Second आएगा asset allocation किस तरीके से हो रहा है. Third will be sir in relation to how does it compare with the budgets. So जो whatever budgets the organization has made, whether each segment is satisfying that budget or not. And finally the consistency with the prior period transactions. So the auditor will check these matters in relation to segment information. So segment information also remember there are two answers. That is one in relation to audit procedures to obtain audit evidence, and the second in relation to what all you should do to understand the methods used by the management. ठीक है ना. तो उसका जो कोड आएगा वो आएगा यहाँ पे टाको. इस तरीके से वर्क करेगा. Everybody, I hope it is very very clear. Okay, let's go further in the next area. Let's see this. Now we enter one of the best standards which is there in your syllabus, that is external confirmation. Okay, SA 505. What is external confirmation? It is a direct written response from the to the auditor from the third party in paper form or in electronic or other medium. इस तरीके से दिया हुआ है. Now इसमें what we'll do is I'll go in the order of our notes rather than the order of our the point that I've given. So just be with me. I don't think it will be an issue for you because I think all the concepts are very very clear. Let's go further. Definition of other important terms आपने देखा था positive confirmation request. Whenever you make a confirmation request with the third party and the third party को हम बोलते हैं whether you agree with the matter or whether you disagree with the matter, please ensure that you are responding to us. That is called as positive confirmation request. What is negative confirmation request? When we tell the third party that see if you agree, no, don't respond. And only if you disagree, then you respond. Then that is called negative confirmation request. The third point here is called something called as non-response. पहले अपन ये करते हैं non-response. Non-response मतलब क्या आएगा? Sir, if we are sending a positive confirmation request and if there is no response to it, or if we are sending a request and the request is undelivered, returned to us undelivered, so वो आदमी तक third party तक पहुंचता ही नहीं है, then that is called as non-response. Okay? Sir, what is exception then? Exception में क्या आएगा? Sir, if we are communicating with the third party and if we tell the third party, please confirm, suppose we are writing a confirmation letter to the and we ask him, please confirm whether your pending payment to the company is 5 crore rupees. So debtor को 5 crore देना बाकी है to the company. Now the debtor says, no, from where 5 crore we have to only pay 3 crores. Then that 2 crores is called as an exception. 2 crores is called as an exception. So you can read exception with me. देखो क्या लिखा है यहाँ पे. Difference between information requested to be confirmed or contained in the entity's records and information provided by the confirming party. The difference between these two is called as exception. Okay. If you get exception in one of the transactions, you will doubt that exception is there everywhere, and in that case, you will assess the entire population regarding that difference. Okay. तो आपको लगेगा कि हर जगह पे यहाँ पे गड़बड़ी हो सकती है. Okay. Let's go further. Now we'll just complete this small answer here. So negative confirmation request, the auditor will confirm in which situations. So the point is, see there you must underline a keyword called all of the following should be present. All of the following conditions should be present. All are, so not only one, all should be present. Pehle, when the risk of material statement is assessed as low, when the exception rate is assessed as low, when the auditor is not aware of circumstances because of which the third party will disregard the auditor. In this case, I had given a similar explanation in the class that the auditor knows that the third party will definitely respect and react to the auditor. React he can do if he agrees, then he will not respond, and if he doesn't agree, he will respond. But the auditor has complete confidence that the third party will definitely not ignore the auditor. So that should be the third condition. And the fourth is, the auditor has assessed the risk of material misstatement. The fourth is, the population of the items subject to negative confirmation procedures comprises of large number of small homogeneous account balances, transactions and or conditions. Basically, there are lower value items, but the number of transactions are very, very large, and all the transactions are of similar nature. That is what we are looking at here. Simple. That is what we see in negative confirmation request. Let's go further. Now after that we had done this point called as external confirmation procedures. So regarding which matters the information to be collected regarding external confirmation procedures, we had done a code called PINBA, if you remember PINBA. Property, investment, inventory, bank balance, bank borrowing, accounts receivable, accounts payable. इस तरीके से work करेगा ये. ठीक है, बढ़े आगे. Now after that we had done, sir, we'll select the appropriate confirming party who is knowledgeable. Then we'll design the confirmation request. When we design the confirmation request, we'll keep some things in mind. And I want you all to see this, that diagram which will be there with you. And ensure that you are just learning it in a proper manner. Please see here. Auditor will look at the assertion. Auditor will look at the risk of material statement regarding that matter. Auditor will see whether management has given the authorization to go and confirm with the third party. Auditor will look at his own prior experience. Auditor will look at the layout and presentation with which he has to take the confirmation. He has to give the confirmation he has to send the confirmation request. Auditor will look at the method of communication. कि अपन को किस तरीके से कम्युनिकेट करना है. एंड फाइनली ऑडिटर विल लुक एट द ability of the intended confirming party to confirm whether he has the ability to confirm or not. That is what we are looking at in this part. That is basically this point. That is your second. That is the factors to consider while designing confirmation request. Important answer if you ask me. Okay. Let's go further. There is a nice part here which I have done in the class called, sir, if we ask the client and look at the area which is circled with the red border. If we ask the client, if on the right hand side with green you will see the auditor and on the left hand side you will see the confirming party. तो ऑडिटर ने अगर यहाँ पे वो जो रेड बॉर्डर में पूछा कि प्लीज कंफर्म वेदर बी लिमिटेड हैज टू पे रुपीज 5 crores टू ए लिमिटेड, एंड इफ यू आस्क सच अ क्वेश्चन द क्लाइंट में जस्ट से यस 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 वी आर पेड. सो अगर ऐसे हो गया देन यू विल अंडरस्टैंड द क्लाइंट there is a risk that the client, that the confirming party may not verify before responding. You can see on the left hand side I have written risk that the confirming party may not verify before responding. So in this case what trick we can do is we can send a blank confirmation request. Blank का मतलब ये है we will send a confirmation request without the amount के बिना भेजेंगे हम यहाँ पे. तो हम कैसे लिख सकते हैं यहाँ पे, we can send by please let us know the payment to be made to A limited, like that we can ask. In that case what will happen is there are two possibilities. Advantage is that the confirming party will check and then respond because we have not mentioned the amount, so he'll be forced to check and then respond, so you'll get a much more better response here. But the disadvantage is that because you are specifying very, you're putting your foot down and saying no please आप बताइए यहाँ पे कि amount कितना है यहाँ पे, maybe that other party because of laziness may not respond only, and that is why you can suffer from a lower response rate, so you will not get a response from the confirming party. इस तरीके से problem हो सकता है यहाँ पे. Okay, that is basically given regarding this part. That's it. I think that completes your, and of course the other small parts are remaining. That is, sir, if the management is refusing to send a confirmation request, management बोलती है हम confirmation request भेजेंगे, आपको allow नहीं करेंगे भेजने के लिए. Sir, in that case you have to inquire regarding the reasons from the management. You have to inquire about the reasons for the refusal. Now, if the management refuses and if they are able to give a valid reason here, valid and reasonable reason here, then you will look at the implication that it has, effect that it has on your risk commitment statement and the audit procedures. Suppose अगर उसका implication यहाँ पे ज़्यादा है and because of which you are not able to reach the RA level, then you will prefer doing alternative audit procedures. अगर आप alternative audit procedures कर पाते हो तो well and good. अगर आप नहीं कर पाते हो then in that case you will prefer communicating with the TCWG, that is SA 260, and if they are also not responding to your favor then you will report as per 705. लेकिन अगर आपने मैनेजमेंट से कंफर्मेशन रिक्वेस्ट करने के लिए गए, आपने मैनेजमेंट से परमिशन लेने के लिए गए कि क्या हम कंफर्मेशन रिक्वेस्ट भेज सकते हैं, बट द मैनेजमेंट इन दिस केस दे हैव सेड नो, आप भेज नहीं सकते, एंड दे आर नॉट गिविंग अ वैलिड रीजन आल्सो फॉर दैट. सो दे आर, व्हेन यू इंक्वायर फॉर द रीजंस आर वेरी अनरीजनेबल. वो प्रॉपर्ली दे आर नॉट टेलिंग यू द प्रॉपर मैटर. If that is the case, you will directly communicate with TCLG, and if they are also the same kind, then you will report as per 705. Okay. Last answer in this standard is evaluation of evidence obtained. In this, when the client gives you, when the client's third party, so the third party to whom we are dealing with, जैसे debtor हो गया, when they are responding to us, we will see whether वो response किस तरीके से. The question that we asked that whether debtors are worth 5 crores or not, and if they are saying yes, we have to pay the amount worth 5 crores, then that is called as an agreement. If we took a confirmation, asked a confirmation for 5 crores and they give a response of 3 crores, that is called as exception. Then there is an exception of how much? 2 crores. If we send a confirmation request and if they send a response and the response में उन्होंने लिखी दिया, see, even though we are responding, but please don't rely on our response, then that response is unreliable. And fourth point is when we send the confirmation request and if they don't respond, then that is called non-response. इस तरीके से वर्क करता. Okay, that is basically the points regarding this matter. That is your SA 505. Everyone, please tell me in the chat area, very clear the standard. Please tell me yes or no. Very comfortable. Okay. Done यहाँ पे. Can you go ahead? Let's move ahead. Now we are entering the next standard, that is SA 510, that is opening balances. So let's do this. Opening balances में we had done this chart, okay, and I think this chart you will be understanding कि एक बार देख लेना, and the numbering you have done in the class regarding this chart, so you will understand in a much better manner. So look at this chart and let's go for it one by one. First of all, when is initial audit engagement applicable? When the previous year's audit was done by some other chartered accountant and not you, and you have been given the audit this year for the first time. Or when the company last year audit was not done only, company का अभी तक audit हुआ ही नहीं है कभी, and you are doing the audit of this company for the first time. In that case, for you, it will be an initial audit engagement. And in that case, mainly you have to check the opening balance. Okay. So in that case, what are the audit procedures that you will do? So the first answer is audit procedures. You will first see whether the last year's closing balance is correctly brought forward to this year's opening balance. Second, you will see whether your accounting policies are consistent or not. Third, you will see if the previous year audit was done by some other auditor, then at least he is a CA and you can rely on that person. That is why you will go through the last year's audited financial statements, previous audit report, other documents आप go through करोगे यहाँ पे. अगर last year audit नहीं हुआ था, then I told you in the class, you will do something called as specific audit procedures. And in the class I told you specific audit procedures क्या होते हैं basically. Basically these are extended procedures, these are long procedures that takes auditor time to get to know the balance of the current year by looking at all the past year's data. So auditor will look at the current year's balance and find the current year's balance by looking at the past year's data, because last year audit नहीं हुआ था तो यही ऑप्शन है हमारे पास. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन ऐसे आएगा यहाँ पे, सर इफ द ओपनिंग बैलेंसेस कंटेन मटेरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट देन व्हाट शुड द ऑडिटर डू? ऑडिटर विल डू additional audit procedures and the auditor will report misstatements as per SA 450. Okay, and finally the last area which is important in this standard, baki you can I have given as a read area, but the last area which is very very important in my opinion is the answer on the right hand side of your screen. That is, the nature and extent of audit procedures depends on which factors. So अपन अगर audit procedures कर रहे regarding opening balances, then what all factors will affect our own work? So किस किस कारण की वजह से my work will be affected? First we look at the nature and extent of the transaction account balance disclosures. See what we are checking regarding which transaction account balance disclosures we are checking, that will affect our own audit work. Okay. Next आएगा accounting policies have been followed by the company properly or not. If they have followed it, then great. आपका जो nature extent timing हो जाएगा, nature extent होगा audit process का, वो थोड़ा light रहेगा. But अगर accounting policies follow नहीं किया ना, बहुत ही ऊपर नीचे है. Suppose if the company has been inconsistent with the accounting policies, in that case, your nature and extent of audit procedures will also vary and change and will be more tougher. If the opening balance of the closing balance of the previous year had a modified opinion, then the opening balance also this year has a modified opinion. Then in that case, your effort this year will increase. तो अगर लास्ट ईयर मॉडिफाइड ओपिनियन था, देन आपका इस साल एफर्ट बढ़ेगा. अगर लास्ट ईयर क्लीन रिपोर्ट था तो आपका इस साल एफर्ट बढ़ेगा नहीं. लास्ट में ओपनिंग बैलेंस का सिग्निफिकेंस कितना है? सर इन दैट लेजर अगर ओपनिंग बैलेंस का अमाउंट बाकी ट्रांजैक्शन के सामने बहुत ही छोटा है, then in that case our effort will be less. But अगर opening balance का suppose imagine if the debtors का opening balance is last year से जो this year opening balance आ रहा है, let's say that is 4 crores and the debtors to sales का जो entry and debtors का जो credit side में जो cash bank to debtors का जो entry है, that is in hardly thousands or lakhs. So you understand, if the opening balance is in crores and the other amounts are in let's say lakhs, then the opening balance will have more significance and therefore your effort to check the opening balance will also increase because it has more significance now. It is affecting the ledger in a very big manner. Simple hai bhaiya. That is what we did in SA 510, that is opening balances. I hope this area is also clear. ठीक है, बढ़ते अभी आगे. Let's go to the next standard, that is SA 550. I'm taking up related party transactions. बोलते हैं for related party transaction में आएगा meaning. So who are our related parties? Sir, any entity controlling us or having significant influence over us is our related party, or any entity controlling us in an indirect manner is also our related party. And then any entity on which we have control directly, or if we have control indirectly, becomes our related party. Okay? So in the diagram, I think you can see that X limited, Y limited, P limited, Q limited, all these are related parties. Then we are done. Sir, if there is an organization called, let's say, B limited, you can see on the left hand side of your screen, B limited, and B limited यहाँ पे उसका भी parent X limited है and A limited का भी parent X limited है, and because B limited and A limited have a common controlling entity, that is X limited, that is why B limited and A limited will become related parties. Next, sir, A limited and E limited both have common key management. A limited and E limited both have common key management. Because the key management are common, the main executive directors of the company are, let's say, common. In that case, A limited and E limited will become related parties. Sir, if A limited's owner and D limited's owner, I told you, A limited का owner assume करो it is Mukesh Ambani, and D limited का owner assume करो it is Neeta Ambani, and if both of them are related parties because they are husband and wife, so in that case, automatically, A limited and D limited will become related parties. Okay? Now, इधर एक exception है, याद रखना. अगर कोई गवर्नमेंट कंपनी है जिसमें गवर्नमेंट इज कंट्रोलिंग द शेयर्स ऑफ टू कंपनीज, जस्ट बिकॉज द गवर्नमेंट इज द कॉमन कंट्रोलिंग एंटिटी डजंट मीन दैट द गवर्नमेंट कंपनीज आर रिलेटेड पार्टीज. सो दैट इज एन एक्सेप्शन फॉर गवर्नमेंट कंपनीज. आई हैव गिवन द एग्जांपल ऑन द राइट हैंड साइड. यू कैन सी देयर ओएनजीसी एंड स्टील अथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया लिमिटेड आर कंट्रोल्ड बाय द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. और यहाँ पे even though the central government is a controlling authority, still ONGC and Steel Authority of India will not be related parties. they can be related parties only and only if there are significant transactions between them or they are sharing the resources इस तरीके से वर्क करेगा दिमाग में clarity. This is the meaning of related party. Okay, let's go further. After that we are done in the class the next point, that is basically a control का अपने meaning देखा था कि control क्या होता है, significant influence क्या होता है. Remember, control is the power to govern and significant influence is the power to participate. Okay, let's go to the next area. Sir, nature of related party relationship and transaction. In this case I had given you the example कि अगर मेरे cousin brother ने यहाँ पे या फिर cousin brother मतलब cousin brother of course is not covered in that related party के definition में, but suppose a person who I know very well, if that person makes a computer software for me, तो वो कभी कभी वो पेमेंट लेगा भी नहीं मेरे से, या अगर वो पेमेंट लेगा भी तो वो मैं इनडायरेक्ट दूंगा, जैसे उसके शादी के टाइम में मैंने उसको गिफ्ट कर दिया. Now all these things happen in the case of related parties. So you will understand here we are looking at nature of related party relationship and transaction, and the code for you is nice में पहले क्या आएगा, it is not conducted under normal terms and conditions. Second, information system may be ineffective regarding this matter. And third, complex and extensive range of relationships and structures may exist in the case of related party transaction and relationships. So that is the nature of related party and relationships and transactions. Let's go to the next one. How will you understand related party relationship and transaction? Let's go to this area. See, now in this case, sir, first we have to look at कि हम किसका ऑडिट कर रहे हैं, एंटिटी का. उसको हम देखेंगे कि सर एंटिटी का जो रिलेटेड पार्टी है वेदर इट इज आइडेंटिफाइड प्रॉपर्ली एज अ रिलेटेड पार्टी और नॉट. सेकंड, वो रिलेटेड पार्टी के साथ क्या नेचर ऑफ रिलेशनशिप है, दैट विल सी. Third, whether we are entering into a transaction with a related party. So in your diagram you can see there X Limited is a related party of ours, so we have identified that. उसका अपने साथ nature relationship क्या है, that is it is a subsidiary, so we have identified that also. And उसके बाद अगर have we entered into any transaction with that, that is called whether we have entered into any transaction. कुछ उनके साथ हमने buying selling कुछ किया या नहीं किया. Now you will inquire with the third party and you will understand what all things. First they are given, you will identify, you will identify and disclose in relation to, or identify, account and disclose in relation in the AFRF whether it is done properly or not. कि whether the AFRF में आपने इसको properly identify किया कि नहीं किया, account किया कि नहीं किया, disclose किया कि नहीं किया, you will check that. And that is basically whether you will, what they mean to say is whether you will do the entries as per AS 18. Why I am telling it, because you know AFRF is nothing but Schedule 3 plus AS or Ind AS. And AS का मतलब है AS 18 आप follow कर रहे हो कि नहीं कर रहे हो. Next you will check as an auditor whether for understanding you will see whether authorization and approval is taken regarding related party transactions and whether this is not in the ordinary course of business. That is what you will check in relation to this part. That is basically this area. Let's go further. आ जाओ यहाँ पे. In this we had done a simple code, that is, sir, what records and documents should we check regarding related party transaction and relationships? In that case we should check something called as I see shareholders contributing life in these documents. I से आएगा income tax returns, I से आएगा information supplied to the regulatory authorities, I से आएगा invoices, I से आएगा internal auditors reports, and finally I से आएगा investments. I hope you remember the flow of this. अभी contract में आएगा, C से आएगा contract, उसमें आएगा contract का, you have to remember core, KORE, पहले contract with the KMP, contract which is not in the ordinary course of business, and contract which are renegotiated during the period. Then regarding shareholders, you will see you will check the shareholders register to know the company's principal shareholders. You look at any conflicting responsibilities are there or not. You look at any life insurance policy के लिए अगर अपन कोई premium pay करेगी नहीं कर रहे हैं. And finally, you look at the document filed with the securities regulator. The securities regulator in India is SEBI, of course. Okay, so you will check any document which have been filed to them. In the module and in our book, the word is given. If when you file any prospectus, you may disclose any you may disclose related party relationship or transactions in that case. Okay, because of SEBI requirements. Let's go further. Now, after completing this answer, this area is required to be read, that is considerations specific to smaller entities by the auditor. This is what you can go through later. Okay. Now, this is where I am stopping the second part of chapter number 4. It's a huge chapter, so I'm just stopping this here, and then we'll go and continue in the third part. Okay. Students who are there sitting online, if you have any queries, please ask me in the chat area. Please ask me in the chat area. If there are any queries that you have, please tell me. कोई क्वेरी है तो पूछो एक बार.